Hey guys, I've got another Pink Paislee design team process for you today, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one single piece of pattern paper to create a page in my Life Crafted album. So I have chosen paper number 8 from the 5th and Monaco collection from Pink Paislee, this gorgeous bright stripe, and I'm going to trim down the paper to fit into my Life Crafted album. So it's 8¼ inches high, and I've cut out 2 pieces that are 5 inches wide because I'm not going to put this layout into page protectors. It's just going to sit into my album, so each piece is 5 inches wide. Then I used the leftover pieces from that piece of paper there, and I'm just going to fussy cut out some of the florals that are on the reverse side. This takes me ages because I'm not a great fussy cutter, but the brilliant thing with this pattern is that you don't have to be too particularly precise. So I sort of sped through this, but I'm definitely not going to make you watch all of it. I just trimmed out most of the whole pieces. I didn't worry about any of the little scrappy pieces that are all hanging off the edge. I just hoped that whatever I managed to cut out from my leftover piece was enough to create a design on my page, and that's exactly what I'm going to do now. So you can see I managed to cut out quite a few, and what I want to do is create a border around my photo. Now I did turn my photo into a black and white photo just so that it would stand out of this really brightly coloured page, as will these black and white flowers. So pretty much all of the colour on this page is going to come from that one background paper. Now I didn't get too carried away with putting everything down precisely where it needs to go. I just sort of got a rough idea of where the florals were going to go, and then I started gluing things down. I'm using a tape runner for the sort of larger floral bits, and I am using a little bit of liquid adhesive on those tiny smaller leaves. When I was fussy cutting, I tried my hardest to keep those leaves attached, even though they've got like sort of single sort of stalks on them. It was a tiny bit difficult, but I'm just making sure that I glue everything down roughly in the right place. Now I've glued down a few down the bottom, and then I stuck down my photo. I do want some of these florals to be overlapping the photo, so it was important to actually get that photo down. And what I'm going to do is just carry on by balancing out the florals at the top and the bottom. I do want the majority of them to be down the bottom, but I want a few of them to be up the top as well to sort of frame the photo and draw your eye up. I decided before I went too crazy with sticking all of these florals down that I did want to add a little bit of bling to the layout, so I'm going to add a couple of these really pretty gold photo corners that come in the embellishment pack, and so that needed to happen before I stuck that floral down because I wanted the leaf to overlap it. Now that I've got my base layer of florals down, I can start adding a few of these with a little bit of craft foam. I want to add some dimension to stop the page looking completely flat because those florals are just black and white sort of sketchy florals. I want to have some dimension on the page, and I'm going to achieve that by creating different layers of the flowers. So I stuck the larger florals down just straight directly onto the paper, and now I'm going to overlap some of those with some other florals that I'm lifting up on craft foam. It's harder to see when it's flat on camera like this, but in real life you get a really lovely amount of dimension. So I'm going to add a couple more of the photo corners down the bottom there. I don't need to add one at the top because I've covered that top corner with a floral in the craft foam. And then I'm just going to carry on layering basically. You can see that the 2 pages are stuck together. I have actually done that on purpose so that I can get everything stuck down and then really carefully trim down the middle of them when I'm finished, and that way everything will line up exactly as it should do. Now I've only got 2 floral pieces left, so I want to be a tiny bit strategic about where I put those. I am going to stick this one down on foam here to cover up this gap. I'm just trimming the bottom of it flat so that it will sit along the border of my pattern paper. And I do want to make sure that I'm adding enough foam under there so that it doesn't get flattened when it's in my Life Crafted album. Those foam ones, the ones that I'm adding with foam here, I am making sure that I'm gluing down the leaves. The leaves aren't necessarily on foam, they're a little bit small for that. So I'm adding some liquid adhesive behind those to make sure that they stay stuck and flat onto the paper, and again, don't get folded up or ripped off when I'm flicking through the pages of my album. This is my last little floral here. I'm just going to add it to the edge of my paper. I've trimmed that flat so it fits nicely. And then I can just flip the whole thing over and just carefully cut through the two florals that are connecting my two pieces of paper. I did just miss one tiny little piece here on the side, and I'm just going to stick that straight down. So that's the basics of my layout. I just need to add a few little embellishments and a title, and I'm going to use some of these really beautiful puffy stickers, some gems. There are some wood veneers in here. The wood veneers are painted on one side, and I didn't really want to add any more color, so I'm going to pick out those butterflies. I think they work really nicely, having again that kind of neutral element in there to offset that super bright background paper. But like I said, I'm going to flip them over so the reverse side so I don't add any more color. I love these tiny little puffy phrases, so I'm going to use one of those as my title, and I just want to make sure that I get these on straight, so I am going to use my lettering guide here just to make sure that I can manage to get that on straight, because those stripes on the background paper are going vertically rather than horizontally. It tricks my eye, so I wanted to make sure that I got those lined up nicely. I used the black ones just so that they will stand out on this page. I decided to add a second word underneath just to sort of bulk out my title a little bit, and I chose another black word on here, remember this, and that completes my title. I'm not adding any journaling to this page, it really was just a gratuitous selfie, so I'm just going to stick down my wood veneer embellishments, and then I do want to still add a little bit of sparkle to the page, so I will add some of these little gemstones as well. I started off trying to use my tape runner to stick down my wood veneer, which works fine on the plain side of the wood veneer, but it didn't stick particularly well to the painted side, so I did end up using a little bit of liquid adhesive just to make sure that all stays nicely stuck down. Now I love these black pearls on this gem sheet. I'm just going to scatter a few of them around my wood veneer butterflies just to create that visual triangle on this page. Despite it being reasonably busy, I do still want to have that visual triangle on there. Then all I need to do is pop these pages into my album, and this is the spread all done. I love that I managed to create this bright and really vibrant page using just one piece of pattern paper. It goes to show you don't need an entire collection. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye guys.